Let's break down Donald Trump's 2016 presidential campaign, not just by the headlines but by the people behind the scenes. Because if you look at the top staffing decisions, you'll see the whole campaign had three very distinct phases. And each one tells us a lot about Trump's strategy, his priorities, and the wild ride that was 2016. Phase 1, the Lewandowski era. Back in February 2015, Trump kicked off his run by hiring Corey Lewandowski as campaign manager. Now, Lewandowski wasn't your typical DC insider. He came from Americans for Prosperity, an organization linked to the Koch brothers, known for their influence in Republican politics, but still, it wasn't the usual consultant class. And Lewandowski's motto, let Trump be Trump. Seriously, that was his whole vibe. The early Trump campaign was small, scrappy, and tight-knit. Key advisors like Roger Stone were in the mix, and most of the staff weren't political veterans. Even when Trump finally built out a foreign policy team in March 2016, he went with people whose names left most policy experts scratching their heads. The message was clear. This campaign wasn't going to look or act like anything we'd seen before. But as 2016 rolled on, things started to shift. Welcome to Phase 2, the Manafort campaign. Around March, with the Republican convention looming and the possibility of a contested nomination growing, Trump brought in Paul Manafort. This guy had been in presidential politics since the 1970s. It was a move toward the establishment, the kind of hire that said, okay, time to get serious. Trump also promoted Michael Glassner, a veteran from Bob Dole's days, and started bringing in campaign managers from other major GOP campaigns. Manafort's influence grew fast. He changed the operation. More policy speeches, teleprompters, actual speechwriters. Suddenly the campaign started to look less like a rally tour and more like, well, a traditional campaign. Meanwhile, Lewandowski was pushed aside. By June 20th, he was out. Manafort was now firmly in charge. But the story doesn't end there. Enter Phase 3, the Bannon campaign. In August, Trump shook things up again. He hired Steve Bannon from Breitbart News as chief executive and brought in Kellyanne Conway as campaign manager. Bannon had a reputation for embracing the fringe, not shying away from controversy or internet culture wars. Conway, on the other hand, was a seasoned pollster and analyst, especially with women and younger voters. She was about as traditional as the campaign ever got in terms of data and polling. Manafort's more establishment approach didn't last. He resigned just 2 days after Bannon joined. With Bannon and Conway, the campaign doubled down on bold messaging and a populist outsider feel. The operation became leaner, meaner, and even more unpredictable. So why does all this matter? Because these three phases, Lewandowski, Manafort, Bannon, weren't just about staff changes. They reflected three different approaches to power, messaging, and the future of the Republican Party. Each phase was a reaction to the moment, to the polls, and most importantly, to Trump's instincts. And together, they helped shape one of the most unconventional, and let's be honest, unforgettable, presidential campaigns in American history. If you found that breakdown interesting, drop your thoughts below and let me know which phase surprised you the most. Catch you in the next one.